Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Fantasy Six Packs Hot News Show.
Yes,
All
so
the
hot.
nerds are rejoicing. The 12 must know stats for Fantasy Football Week
We
7
got him.
edition. Man, it's already late in the season. I'm your host, Keith Flemming, joined by, and so thankful to be joined again by Kacey Kasem. We missed you last week, Casey.
I missed you as well. I missed all of y'all, and you held down the fort. And mad props to you for you and Nico holding it down and having to talk to yourself the whole time was probably a lot of fun. But you did a great job, my homie.
It was my childhood all over again. So uh, I've never been afraid though to talk to myself. But I'm glad you're back. I'm looking forward to diving into some fun stuff this week.
Yeah.
And let's start with DrakeMaye, who continues to just man, it makes me sick. Why does New England get everything right? Like you had Tom Brady, now you already got DrakeMaye. May became the fourth quarterback, 23 years or younger, with 5 straight games with 200 plus passing yards and a passer rating over 100, joining Patrick Mahomes. Makes sense. Dan Marino. Makes sense. And for all you Cowboy haters out there, a man named Dak Prescott.
Woo.
Um, I'm just saying, Dak's pretty good. Sunday, May was under pressure on all 3 touchdown passes against the Saints, all deep passes as well. That's 20 plus air yards thrown to the left side of the field. He owns that left side of the field, throwing for 261 yards, 3 scores, and it could have been even bigger. He had 2 huge plays overturned because of offensive pass interference calls, and I mean questionable offensive pass interference calls, a 51-yard bomb on third down to Stephon Diggs, and a 60-yard touchdown to Demario Douglas, which would have been his second of the day. Had those plays stood, he would have been a ridiculous 20 of 28 for 383 yards and 4 touchdowns. May is now all the way up to sixth among QBs in fantasy points per game, scoring 21 points per, and he scored 126 points in fantasy this season. What's most impressive, in my opinion, I was really high on May this year, but not because I thought he would be lighting it up through the air. I was like, hey, with May, you're going to get a real, rushing floor week in and week out. Only 19% of his points have come on the ground, meaning that this is maybe his floor, which is scary if you're playing DrakeMaye in fantasy.
Let's okay. You brought up the Dallas Cowboys, so we're gonna
Yeah,
transition
talk
to
a little
them.
Cowboys.
We talked Drake May. Now we got some more talk. We've got some George Pickens talk for you to start off.
Go
I know
Dolphs.
everybody's excited about that because wide receiver 1 this week. Hello, 2 weeks removed from being the wide receiver 2. He's finished wide receiver 19 or better in 5 straight games. On Sunday, he saw a first read target share of 52%, and he's the first wide receiver with 500 plus receiving yards and 6 plus receiving touchdowns through the first 6 weeks of a season since 2023.
Think that was Jamar Chase. I should have looked it up. I'm assuming this got to be a Jamar Chase, right? Maybe Jefferson. I guess that would be
It would
probably
be
the
one of
two.
those, yes. Probably, yes. Pickens surpassed his highest receiving touchdowns for a season. He's done it in just 6 games. So, yes,
I
change the
guess that's what
scenery,
happens
baby.
when you go from Mason Rudolph and who else did the Steelers have the last couple of years? Kenny Pickett to
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm. It might be. It might be a thing. We'll find out. Let's just talk about his 17 game pace real quick. We've got 17 game pace of 91 receptions for 1,488 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns.
Good Lord, it's a lot of touchdowns.
That's a lot. Now, temper your expectations a little bit, but I mean, he's solid so far. So it's been looking pretty nice. It's not even a surprise to us. I mean, he's having a monster season, but so is his quarterback. Dak Prescott's looking mighty fine right now.
Dude,
He's
he's so
playing some of
good.
the best ball of his life. Uh, just look over the last 3 games, okay? 74 passes complete out of 103. That's 71.8% completion percentage, okay? Then he had Then he goes for 817 yards and 11 total touchdowns with 0 interceptions, y'all. 0. It's Dak Prescott, and you got 0 interceptions.
It's clean as a baby's behind.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And here's a fun one for y'all, too. It's the passer rating of 127.4. Okay. Somehow the Cowboys were 1-1-1. Yes, that's true.
Ties?
Ties in football. But since quarterback starts were first tracked in 1950, Dak's the first quarterback to have 11 or more pass touchdowns / rushing touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and a non-winning record over a 3-start span. That comes from ESPN research. Thank you for that. Little nugget there. Really feels good for a Cowboys fan.
Thanks a lot.
And then for the season, though, Dak leads the NFL in catchable throw rate at 81.7%. He ranks second in highly accurate throw rate at 63.3%. And let's talk about sacks. He's taking sacks at a career low of 2.9% of the dropbacks. So
you know more than me, being a Cowboys fan. The offensive line hasn't been as good this year, right? That's more of a Dak stack than like the offensive line's been really good.
I mean, the offensive line has surprised me this year in terms of like he hasn't been sacked, but again, Dak has been very good at getting out of trouble, and he's been very good at getting the ball where it needs to be. And like my dad said, Cowboys are losing, Dak's looking good. We'd rather Cowboys are winning and Dak looks bad, but for fantasy, we'll take this.
I mean, it's not like he's that old, right? Like, to me, the biggest thing in football is having a guy, and because he's been injured, what was it, 2 years in a row, he's missed like a portion of the season. I think people just forgot. Dak Prescott's really good. Again, that list that we started off with of 23 and younger, Marino, Mahomes, May, Dak.
Dak. I mean, and yes, Dak is just, it's the odd year thing, right? Every other year, he's just like he hits.
About that too.
Yeah, I forgot until just the second. So,
well, let's talk at least one more quarterback, and the guy that there was a lot of whispers in the offseason that we got Allen, we got Lamar. Nobody was really mentioning Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs, and guess who is back atop the fantasy football mountain among quarterbacks through 6 games? It's Patrick Mahomes. He has finished QB6 or better 5 of the last 6 or 5 of the 6 weeks so far this season. And it's not that surprising when he has the highest passer rating he's had since 2022. And this is really shocking. The deepest air yards per attempt since 2018. That obviously had prime Kelsey. Tyreek Hill was literally the cheetah back then. And then don't look now, because, God, that's what Kansas City needs is more wins. Rashee Rice is coming back. If you have been holding on to him, boy, are you in for a treat. The Chiefs offense leads the league in passes over expectation. They have basically turned the pass into their run, right? A lot of these short passes. We saw that at the beginning of last year and 2 years ago, and Rashee Rice was the engine. He was basically their guy. He actually saw more targets, had a higher target share than Travis Kelce, and they have games coming up with the Commanders and Vegas, who ranked 21st and 19th against the pass per EPA. And I think everybody, I know I get we like the new shiny stuff, but I do. I get a little frustrated, not even as a Chiefs fan, when I see, Mahomes is not the best QB in football. Come on, man. Like, if you had to have a score and your life was depending on it, one drive, really? You're going to take Allen or Lamar over Mahomes? I'm not.
I'm not either. Nope, can't do it. I'm
not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do it. Here's someone that I would like to take a chance on. I hope you guys all took a chance on this gentleman this year. We're talking TylerWarren right now, and this is thanks to Ryan Heath over at Fantasy Points for this one. All right,
Ryan's the best, man.
Ryan
a lot
is
of
the
cool
best.
Stuff. Follow him.
Follow. Now, TylerWarren commanded a 30% target share in Week 6. That's the second time he's done so. Okay. Let's look at Brock Bowers. It took him until week 11 of his rookie season to do that twice. So got that
Yellow.
since 1970. Only Jordan Reed. Oh, Jordan Reed.
God,
Fantasy.
I forgot about him, man.
Fantasy goodness.
Washington, yeah.
Jordan Reed and Keith Jackson have topped Warren's 84.6 PPR fantasy points through 6 career games. So he's doing some stuff that hasn't been seen in quite some time.
Knowing good and well that, and this is, again, I'm old because I actually remember when Keith Jackson played, but they did not have PPR leagues. I'm sorry, back when Keith Jackson. So that means these stat heads, man, they go back and they're just putting in fantasy numbers from seasons past.
Can you even imagine? Wow. I can't even imagine if it started earlier.
I would love it. So that sounds like something to be right up my alley. But, oh, he would have scored 38 points on this day. Let's talk about one of my favorite dudes, Go Dogs. We've already got 2 of them on the docket. George Pickens first. How about my boy Lad McConkey, who, again, people were wanting to throw some dirt on the grave of Lad. If you saw his punt return last week, unfortunately it was called back, but he's still that guy. He's still electric with the ball. The difference has been, Herbert and Keenan Allen, they have this connection. They're first loves. And you never really get over your first love. But Keenan Allen and QJ, I don't think they'll be able to stay healthy. That was proven correctly with QJ missing week 6. Lad, weeks 1 through 5, like I said, just not the opportunity. 18% target share, only 42 yards per game, 9.7 fantasy points per. His first game without one of those 2 receivers, Lad 8. 24% target share, 100 yards receiving, 23 fantasy points. And yet, he was not even the star for the Chargers because Kamani Vidal, you want to talk about somebody that everybody loved, then everybody just threw away, and then everybody rushed back to try to pick him up, myself included. Man, he looked really good. Yeah. He had 75% of the carries for the Chargers backfield, 10% target share, and the only carry inside the 10, which we know that is very fruitful for running backs. Hassan Haskins, on the other hand, obviously 25% of the carry share, only 2% target share. Vidal's 21.5 weighted opportunities were the 5th most of the 1 p.m. game, so that was only basically 3 games after that. Resulted in 138 all-purpose yards, a touchdown, but slow your roll. Now, I did say this last week, and RicoDowdle went out and said, "Oh, not so fast, Keith. I'll do it again, bitch. You gonna call it a fluke? I'll do it again." So maybe Vidal does. But these Dolphins, they are really bad versus the run. They've now allowed 100 yards from scrimmage to a running back in each of their last 5 games. And let's go over these names. James Cook, you're okay. RicoDowdle, you're also okay after what you did this week. But the other 3, Breece Hall, we've seen how the Jets' offenses looked. Kamani Vidal, Ramondre Stevenson. Dolphins real bad. They're giving up over 170 yards per game at 5.6 yards per carry. Quishon Judkins, you disappointed. You broke my heart, okay? But I think we'll be back this week because he's going to be facing the Miami Dolphins.
Man, target anybody going. Yeah, you need those running backs against the Dolphins. I'm looking forward to going and tweaking some lineups after this.
Yeah.
Here's someone else that you probably want on your roster. You don't want to have to face this person when you're.
So glad I only drafted him in like one of my 55 leagues this year.
We're talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba. So JSN, my beautiful wide receiver, does what he needs to do with the 55% target share in week 6.
God.
Hello. He got 8 balls for 162 yards. Oh, and a receiving touchdown as well. And he averaged 5.79 yards per route run in that game. Yeah. His historical yards per route run, somehow it's continuing to just grow. It's just going up. And he's currently averaging 4.24 yards per route run. And only Tyreek Hill in 2023 at 4.7 had a higher YPRR number through 6 weeks. That, when I read that, man, this guy is what you wanted him to be, what you've wanted him to be.
Imagine that. You get rid of DK Metcalf
Who
and
knew?
Tyler Lockett,
And
which
then
was the
just
really
me.
infuriating part.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the dude's balling out. I
Balling.
think he has a legit chance to hover around 4 yards per route run all season because
I
Sam
like
Darnold
that.
has been so good on
Yes.
deep passes. He's like completing, I think, 80% of them still after last week. And that you saw the touchdown pass. I mean, that was
Yeah.
like put it in the basket, but
Yep.
50 yards down the field. So, JSN, you
Mhm.
are unbelievable. Wide receiver, you continues to
Amazing.
shine. Ohio State. I can't stand 'em. This is the last quarterback we're going to talk about. Not actually, we got two more, but Baker
Y'all love him.
Mayfield,
Y'all love him.
the guy that even as a Falcons fan, man, I love this dude. Like I don't know how you can't, despite playing multiple games without his left tackle Tristan Wirf, Bucky Irvin, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, who remember is not suited up, Mike Evans, and then he even lost Emeka Ibuka in the most recent game. The Bucks are 5-1, and Baker 1,500 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, only one interception. I said that he lost Emeka Ibuka pretty early in the game on Sunday. He still in the second half was able to complete 17, or excuse me, for the game, 17 to 23 passes for 256 yards, two touchdowns, and made maybe the play of the season with just an unreal 3rd and 14 run for 15 yards where he had a 3.7% per next gen stats chance of picking that up, running 27 yards after contact on that 15-yard rush. Baker, just a reminder, is the ultimate underdog. This dude was a backup on his 9th grade team, then on his high school team, was a 3-star recruit who only, I think, received 5 scholarship offers, walked on at Texas Tech, won the job, got injured, lost the job, lost a year, obviously transferring to Oklahoma because it's not like it is now where you can just do whatever the hell you want, and had, after he won the Oklahoma jobs, a couple of really scary concussions that people wondered if he'd ever even play again.
Yeah.
He obviously had that monster Heisman season in 2017 and got drafted by the Browns. So I mean, it's a roller coaster, people. He led them to the playoffs. And then a theme that has happened with Baker, he got hurt. He played through it. And shockingly, the Browns traded him. He goes to Carolina. That went real bad. And at that point, he was like playing defensive end on scout teams and stuff. The Rams signed him. He had that unreal, I think it was against the Broncos, 98-yard game-winning drive in the start that he made for the Rams that year. Tampa took a shot on him 2 years ago. They're 24-16 cents. They've won the division both years. He's made the Pro Bowl. And I don't think you can make a case for anybody other than Baker right now to be the MVP because, I mean, what's the definition, right? Is like value to a team. If you're losing everybody,
he's getting it done.
Right? Like we thought the Bucks were going to have too many receivers. Who knew they didn't have enough?
Wow. Who knew? It is unreal. Here's something else that might be a little unreal for you. I don't know. We'll find out. HaroldFaninJr. Y'all know the name.
I like Harold Fannin.
Okay. Well, let me
Swiss
tell you
Army
about
knife.
Let me tell you about Swiss Army Knife's week 6. If I can speak. 81% snaps. 22 snaps at tight end, right? 31 from the slot. Okay. 7 out wide, and then 1 from the backfield. So yes, he can do it all. 10 targets, which was the second most on the Browns. 7 receptions for 81 yards. That was team highs up right there and right there. Boom. In Dylan Gabriel's first start, he targeted tight ends on 39% of his 33 pass attempts. And in week 6, he targeted tight ends on 34% of his 52 pass attempts. I kept saying Taylor Gabriel right there. It's Dylan Gabriel. So I had to write Dylan just to make sure that I didn't say the wrong guy who hasn't played in the league since whatever. But anyway.
I like Taylor Gabriel. I remember.
Fannin, let's talk about Fannin, though, and his availability. Because you might be looking for a tight end. I know I am. And I did do this. I went and checked to see if he was available. He is not available in any of my leagues, but in 50% of fantasy leagues, he's out there. Go check your waivers. He should be considered a waiver wire grab. I mean, especially with all the injuries and bye weeks and everything else we're
dealing
with.
Bye-mageddon next week. I think there's like 6 teams on a bye next week.
Already so bad, and then it's just getting worse. So check, double check. Don't be like me who has to have Hunter Long in. Like, go check and see. So yes, that's my.
I laugh because I also had to start Hunter Long this week. I started him in Scott Fishbowl. So again, I talked about RicoDowdle's unreal day last week, but I really didn't give him his props because I had already noticed the trend of the Dolphins' run defense being awful. That didn't prevent RicoDowdle from going out and being like, hey, how about this list, Keith? He joined Walter Payton, Marshall Faulk, Deuce McAllister, Josh Gordon, and Le'Veon Bell as the only NFL player since 1970 to have consecutive games with 230-plus scrimmage yards. I just want to say, too, Josh Gordon, only receiver on that list. What could have been, man? Like, Josh, God, he was so
Oh, my
good.
gosh.
With
I had him
Cleveland, too, they
rostered
didn't even have a quarterback.
everywhere. And I didn't. And he was... Josh Gordon, what could have been? That's all heartbreatking.
For you young kids, go seriously, go onto the YouTuber
Free the planet.
Put in Josh Gordon there. But Dowdle unbelievably outproduced his unbelievable performance the week before, where he accounted for 234 yards. He said, let me get 239 this week.
Yeah.
By the way, that is first and second this season. And total yards, even Bijan last night, who my boy had an unbelievable game. He couldn't top either one of those totals, though. Despite only being featured in 2 games this season, Dowdle now has the first and fourth highest scoring weeks by a running back this season.
Wow.
And he now ranks 3rd in the NFL in rushing yards. That's right, 3rd. If you remove the 71 rushing yards he gained as the backup, he'd still rank 11th. 2 games. Only 75 yards less than Javonte Williams, who ranks 2nd. Unreal. Finally, Dowdle gained 677 rushing yards over his final 7 starts last year, something I had forgot. He did end the season on a heater. You add the 389 yards from the last 2 weeks, he's averaging 118 yards per game over his last 9 starts. And, of course, Carolina's coach will not go out and say that it's his job. So,
right.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Here's a name you guys and gals need to keep on your radar. JoshDowns. Who knew we'd be talking about JoshDowns? But here we are, and I'm excited about it. Over the last 3 weeks, he leads the Colts in targets at 20. Michael Pittman and TylerWarren, they're second with 19 each. So there you go. This is despite Downs running 68 routes in that span compared to the 86 Pittman's run and 83 for Warren. He's Downs also has the highest targets per route run of the Colts. Pass catchers for that stretch at 29.4%, compared to 22% for Pittman and Warren. Okay, he's seen 5 targets or more in every game but 1 since week 2. He's coming off his season high in usage in week 6. And he currently ranks 23rd among wide receivers in receptions and 14th in target rate.
Hello.
Didn't know any of that. Downs is someone who should be rostered. Like, if you are needing help at wide receiver, again, we've talked about the bye-mageddon. We've talked about that. All the bad stuff that's happening right now with injuries. He's available in 50% of leagues as well. Solid replacement for the upcoming buys. Like, super solid. I went and checked because I needed to. Again, you got to go check. he's got the potential to be a top 20 wide receiver if he starts playing in 2 wide receiver sets for Indy. Okay. So, I mean, that upside looks delicious. If you're a roster churner, if you got somebody on your roster that's just not doing it, not living it up to expectations, you might as well just take a shot on JoshDowns. I like that.
I'm not sure that the Colts are going to be up as much as they've been early this year. They've had a pretty weak schedule.
They have.
Obviously, being down would probably mean more 3 receiver sets. So even if he's not playing on the 2 receiver sets, that number is going to rise. He's still 6th in the NFL in target per route run rate. It's just unfortunately, like I said, he's not on the field for the 2 receiver ones, but Downs is really good.
He
So
is.
You should go check
another
it out.
one of those guys that always, every year, it's kind of not the sexy pick, right? But you don't need that.
It's a lot sexier when it's not tied to Anthony Richardson.
There you go. Boom. Mic drop moment right there.
All right. This really is the last quarterback that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, right.
And is the new king of New York, JaxsonDart. He's still available in over 50% of fantasy leagues. At least I know that is the case on Sleeper. He is the latest rushing QB you should roster if you need help at the QB position or you're looking for more consistency, because he has got that rushing floor, which is so big. Dart scored 17.6 points or more in all 3 of his starts, averaging over 20 points per game in that span. The big reason he is scoring 9.56 points per game just with his legs. Dart's 56 yards per game through his first 3 starts, ranked 2nd since 2000, only behind Jaden Daniels' 60 yards per for most rushing yards by a quarterback making their first 5 starts or less. Dart ranks 9th or better among QBs in basically every rushing category that you want for QBs. Carries per game, design runs per game, red zone carries, yards per carry, and rushing touchdowns. And again, remember, he's only made 3 starts, so the rushing touchdowns, that's very nice. This situation reminds me so much of Bo Nix last year, because I almost picked up Dart last week in a bunch of leagues, and I went, come on, it's JaxsonDart. This can't sustain. Keith, you talk about this all the time. They get 3 times the points for running that you do for passing. So if you get a guy that's going to run a lot, you got to take him. Nix last season consistently scored 16 points or more. What did we say? Dart scored 16 points or more in all of his start. Something that Nix did in 12 of his last 15 starts. He ended the season as QB8. And again, he was not owned in a majority of leagues until like week 9 or 10, because we just didn't believe it was real. We don't have to say that they're a good quarterback. We're just proving that they're a good fantasy quarterback.
Right.
There's just so much value in these rushing QBs, again, because they just have a high floor week in and week out. And I know it's a small sample size, but Dart ranks 7 in points per game at the QB position already, averaging less than a point than every quarterback ahead of him, except for Josh Allen and PatrickMahomes, who, by the way, he's within 3 points of them. So JaxsonDart, it may not be pretty, but very effective.
I was definitely that person. I was like, dang it, I have to start JaxsonDart when week 5 or whatever with Caleb on bye and Joe Burrow injured and Queen's Classic. It's a 1 quarterback league. So I was like, oh no, what to do? JaxsonDart, baby. 6-0. Let's go. All right.
Oh, now bury the lead.
I don't want to jinx it. Is the
touche. Okay.
Okay. So just ignore that I just said that.
The keyway. Yep.
Let's not ignore what's going on with the Seahawks running backs. Let's look at what happened in week 6 alone with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker.
What are they doing?
First, let's look at Zach. He had a 61% snap share with 12 carries, ran 13 routes, ended the day with a big old 4.7 fantasy points. Let's see what Kenneth Walker could do for us. 33% snap share, 10 carries, 8 routes. Again, we got a good number here at 4.7 fantasy points. Wow, how that happened? Like magic. But yeah, so if you're a manager who has Walker on your roster, you're probably pretty frustrated with what's going on because Charbonnet has just been inefficient. Okay? He's still seeing more opportunities than Walker, even though he's so much more inefficient. Like what's going on? Charbonnet ranks last with his 2.6 yards per carry among running backs who qualify. Walker ranks second in explosive run rate percentage and third in missed tackles forced per attempt.
I thought that was good. Apparently not in Seattle.
But and then here we go. Charbonnet ranks in the bottom 10 in both of those categories. So Charbonnet also has the highest rate of rush attempts to go for 0 or negative yards. Yikes. That's not good. That's not great. Walker has scored in only 1 of 5 games that the two backs have played together.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
He scored twice in the one game that Charbonnet didn't play. And then Charbonnet, he scored 3 in the 5 games that they played together. So we want to be able to tell you that things are going to change. I mean, it feels like they should with how insufficient Charbonnet's been compared to Walker.
Are we taking crazy pills here? What's going on?
What is happening? The team's 4-2 though, right? So the team's 4-2. It's probably it's pretty unlikely to change. I'm not, you and I both probably agree on that. Yes.
I have scoured the internet trying to find, okay, what's the real reason? Because maybe it was like pass blocking or something. I can't find anything other than just maybe the coach being stubborn. I want to do one more bonus stat before we get out of here. And it's not really a stat, it's just records. But
fun stuff.
We have talked a ton about a young QB, like when they're drafted, their situation has so much to do with their success moving forward in the NFL. And there is no better evidence than right now, Baker Mayfield is 5-1 with the Bucs. The Browns, the team that drafted him, 1-5. Daniel Jones is 5-1 with the Colts. The Giants, the team that drafted him, 2-4. And I would like to add, they're actually 2-0 2-1 since they've gone to Dart. So that's a little unfair. They at least got somebody in the wings. Sam Darnold, 4-2 for the Seahawks. The Jets are the only team left in the NFL without a win at 0-6. Stop blaming the quarterbacks. Yes, there are examples, looking at you, Anthony Richardson, where it's not been great. And I think that he is, equally responsible. But even then, they weren't really running the offense that, moved his skill sets. Steichen wanted to do what he does. That's why Daniel Jones has been so much better this year than Richardson, even though Richardson probably more talented. Jones, Mayfield, and Darnold, all top 10 selections, thrown into very bad situations, got just murdered and beat up and, lost their confidence, and then get away from those franchises. By the way, have a history of not being able to develop quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Go to other teams with histories of developing quarterbacks, and look at that. They're having success. So we have such a hard time figuring out what is the secret sauce to a quarterback being successful when you draft them. I think really the biggest secret sauce is, where do they go? Who is going to, be picking the team around them, and who is going to be coaching them up? Because it just makes such a huge deal. 100%. Casey, we actually got 13 must-know stats for week 7.
Lucky number 13, baby.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug? And I have scrapped from the record your record in the Queen's Classic, just for the record.
Okay.
So that's not out there.
I'd like to plug that I'm in the Queen's Classic, so there's that.
Hello.
So plug to that. SundayDreamersClub.com for fantasy football t-shirts. I'm going to plug that here since I do in my fantasy six-pack articles. Check out all the work over here at Fantasy Six Pack. I don't have tons of stuff to plug. I just want to plug the show with Keith and let everybody out there know that I missed you last week, and
I missed you.
Are awesome.
We're BFFs, man. It's great.
BFFs for forevers.
What is it? The old say about friends forever. You remember that?
Yes. I don't have a beautiful singing voice like you, and I
I
forget
don't
the way
have
the
a beautiful
tone
sing.
goes.
I appreciate you saying that, but man, like immediately when I said that, I was like, oh my god, that song just popped in my head. Them lip singing, which was my favorite part. They're like
Oh yeah, and they're
fake
over here
playing the
like not
guitar, and
even.
the
Yeah,
AC's just banging on the drums, but
he's
not
like
really.
he knows how to play the drums though in real life, so at least he has that. Kids Incorporated, go check that out. You don't think I know? I know Mario Lopez trivia, right?
Hello.
I don't know. Was he in that?
I don't know. Was he?
I don't know. I made it
It's
up.
been hey man, the '90s were a
No.
long time ago.
I've slept since then. Yes, you're correct.
Yes. But no, I completely agree. I love doing this show with you. I
Plug all your
also
fun
love
stuff.
doing the DFS show with my buddy Joe Matt. This is our 6th year doing it together. You should come hang with us on Friday nights.
Awesome.
Good time talking DK. Also, Sunday mornings, I come on the Fantasy Six Pack Show. It's great. You got Joe Bond giving his rankings. We answer start sits, a little DFS. And then I'm very pumped that Bob Harris has invited me back on his show again tomorrow night. I'll be there at 9 p.m. It took, a few years of me pestering him, being like, Bob, I want to come on your radio show. Bob, I want to come on your radio show. But the good news is, after I got that first one, he's already reached out again. So now maybe we're best friends forever. Who knows?
Tell him I said hi
It
so
is
that
so
I can
cool,
be his
though.
best friend forever too.
Bob is like the
Love
nicest
him.
guy in the
Yeah.
world, and also somebody that obviously I, have been listening to and reading for
He's one of my
forever.
favorite people
So
in this
just
space.
like it was seriously, I told him like kind of a dream to be able to go on his show and talk fantasy football with him. So I am seriously honored and so pumped to be going back on there tomorrow night to talk ball. But me and Casey will be back next week.
We will.
Every week you'll see us here with the stats you need to know. And you guys have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.